Hi, my name is Jackie Company, and today I'll be answering the question, can concussions drive an athlete to commit suicide? So first, starting off, what is a concussion? The word concussion was derived from the Latin word concussus, meaning to shake violently. And this is a subset of a mild traumatic brain injury. So concussions can occur as a result of direct trauma or rapid acceleration or deceleration of the brain. Then concussions are then broken down into coup and contra-coup injuries. So a coup injury, the injury site of the brain was that of the impact. So if an athlete sustained an injury to the front of the head, the front of the brain would be affected. And contra-coup then is the opposite. So if the injury site of the brain is the back of the brain, the blow occurred from the front of the brain. So sports-related concussions, these occur from direct contact. So the major example is football from helmet-to-helmet contact or helmet-to-body contact. These then are diagnosed through SCAT-5 test and impact testing. So prior to season, athletes perform SCAT-5 and impact baseline assessments, so their scores are added up. And later in the season, if an athlete is said to have sustained a concussion, they retake these exams, and their score that they sustained is then compared to their baseline score, and then a concussion is then diagnosed. And then ultimately, the gold standard of diagnosing concussion is scans. So you have your MRI and your CT scan. Concussion prevention, contrary to popular belief, people think that helmets, headgear, and mouth guards prevent concussions, and this is not true. They do not provide any protection of the brain or help the brain from moving around with inside the skull. So continuing on from concussions, you have chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE. This is a neurodegenerative disease resulting from repetitive head trauma. So the multiple concussions or repetitive head trauma in contact sports will lead to CTE. This can only be officially diagnosed through autopsy, but it has been reported in football players as young as 17 and documented in children as young as 9 through 12 years of age. So the CTE and its effects. CTE can be a precursor for motor neuron disease, or MND, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, motor weakness, and decrease in motor function. Some neurobehavioral changes that can occur: substance abuse, emotional instability, aggressiveness, irritability, dementia, depression, which then can lead to suicide or suicidal tendencies. And the NFL has also released that any retired NFL players are more likely to have dementia, Alzheimer's, cognitive impairment, and related memory disorders. So this is a list of athletes who took their own life due to CTE. So we have Junior Seau, Terry Long, Andre Waters, Shane Dronett, Dave Duerson, Ray Easterling, Jovan Belcher, Paul Oliver, and Costa Karageorge, who is the most recent. He also wrote a letter to his mother saying that he did take his own life because his brain was so messed up. And as you can see, majority of these players are NFL players, and then Costa was NCAA at The Ohio State University. So seeing these athletes sustaining so many concussions, CTE, and then eventually committing suicide, the NFL is making a ton of changes. So on December 8th, 2011, Colt McCoy sustained a concussion that went undiagnosed because the athletic trainers were tending to other athletes who had been injured. So because of this, the NFL then hired independent certified athletic trainers, or ATC spotters, to sit up in the press box to actually watch the field and look for any hits that could affect a player and then cause a concussion. So then in 2015, the ATC spotters were then given the right to issue a medical timeout and remove any player for immediate evaluation. So seeing that the NFL made some changes, the NCAA is doing their part as well. So starting kickoff was changed from 30 yards to 35 yards, and touchbacks were moved from 20 yards to 25 yards. Some more rules that the NCAA has put into place is the no targeting or forcible contact with crown of the helmet, and again, no targeting or forcible contact to the head or neck of a defenseless player. And this is hoping to protect the head, neck, and spine of all athletes. So in my opinion, can multiple concussions lead an athlete to commit suicide? I believe so, yes, because these athletes can progress and receive diagnosis of dementia, Alzheimer's, depression, and I don't believe that this promotes their quality of life, and they think that the only way out of these illnesses is through suicide. Have the new rules decreased concussion rates? I believe so, yes. I didn't find any data to support this, but you have to make the assumption that if we're trying to promote the safety of athletes by changing kickoff yardage, targeting rules, that we are making a dent in the rate of concussions. And then, are there other ways to increase concussions in CTE? In my opinion, yes, and I will continue with that on the next slide. So, can we solve the problems of concussions in CTE? I believe in education of the coaches and players, we absolutely can. Educating coaches on the signs and symptoms of concussions, proper form that these athletes can promote as far as tackling, and also the players, because they're the ones who are self-reporting these concussions. Obviously, we can see the signs and symptoms, but it's all, how they're feeling and that sort of thing. As far as prevention, I believe that we should do a pre-participation exam screening as far as mental health screening. So looking at how many concussions an athlete has actually sustained prior to the season, and just how they're feeling overall as far as their mental health. And the last topic, as far as follow-up for post-career screening, this would be more so for the professional and NFL players, because this would probably be an expensive thing to do. As far as post-career screening, you'd have a psychologist, psychiatrist, who would then follow up with the athlete, just to make sure that they're doing well with retirement and just checking their overall health. Thank you for listening, and these are my sources.